Yeah, come on. I could write this in my sleep. Say you don't sleep, but I sleep. That's why you're sleeping on me. Why? Energy, energy, energy. Don't say a word or a beat. Me, I'm just me, I'm me. I keep it true, I don't sleep. Energy, energy, energy. I hit the end on the road. Hard as a home when I'm home. Watching my babies get old. That gets me into my zone. That gets me into my groove. You know I'm nice, I'm not rude. Got no time for attitudes. Energy, energy, energy. Yeah.
Alright, cool beans. Hope you guys did enjoy that small montage. I'm Hex. I'm going to be going over an updated MagCro build for the Scribes of Fate patch that should transition easily into the Necrom chapter update. Let's just get it out of the way. MagCro is the roughest 1vx class in the entire game. I'm just going to say, I don't think anyone would disagree. Like, you have no really good spammable, you have no execute, which is already a downer. But for those that love to run in big groups or maybe 6+ groups, honestly, this build will probably be perfect for you. This is probably the bane of a 1vxer. Great set and forget dot pressure, and one of the cheesiest anti-heal sets in the game, where you actually severely punish them for healing. Yeah, you heard that right. Not only does this come with the meta tankiness, meta sustain, it comes with, like I said earlier, the most set and forget damage. But how exactly we get this build in order, stick around to the end, I'll show you exactly how. But before we get started, if you guys hit the subscribe and like button, it really does go a long way and I greatly do appreciate it. Also leave a comment down below what video I should do next. And as a quick side note, if you guys ever wanted to see me play live, get Zerged over live, I have been streaming over at Twitch, so follow me on twitch.tv/Hexapod, where I pretty much will go play by play and kind of coach as I'm going through to kind of explain why I'm doing certain skills, help you, mostly just to help you improve the game, like what goes on in my thought process. I just want to give a quick shout out to the MVP of the stream, Timotry007. Man, you really did make that stream so much fun. Thank you for being the first person to chat with me and take away so many nerves from me. From the bottom of my heart, I really do appreciate you, man, and I hope to see you on my next streams. But anyways, before I get all teary eyes, let's blast our way into the build. First skill we do run is obviously good old Stalking Blasphems, or most common referred to as Blasties. You know, this is what basically sets up our burst. We summon a skeleton after 2.5 seconds, it goes off, so we can basically set up a combo perfectly with the skill. This thing does up to 50% bonus damage. At full run duration, you are literally doing over 50% bonus damage, doing flame damage, and if this crits, good night to whatever vampire you're hitting. And it also puts a corpse on the ground. Next skill we do run is Blood Mist. This is honestly a really fun and cool skill. This can be used as mobility, but mostly just there for the simple thing that when you activate the skill, it puts a dot around us that does magic damage every 2 seconds and heals us for 50% of the damage we do. It does the same amount of damage as Entropy in an AoE around you, and it heals you. And it gives you some mobility too on top of it. So honestly, really good. But if you don't want to run this skill for whatever reason, you could run Entropy here and then run Tripods with this build. But honestly, I'd stick to Blood Mist. That heal around you is just so amazing, and being able to move wherever, really nice. Next skill we do run is good old Spirit Guardian. You get a pretty good hot every 2 seconds, and you basically take 10% less damage from all attacks. Like, this skill is cracked. Like, it just is cracked. And it's also a really great way to keep the Undead Confederate passive. It gives us 200 mag and Stamina while this thing is up. And it puts a corpse on the ground if that wasn't enough. Next skill we do run is Flame Reach. This is, I guess you could say, you could use this as a spammable if they're from range. But mostly this is just there for the dot pressure and being able to proc one of our, or actually 2 of our sets. 1 arena set and 1 damage set. So this is really good. It does flame damage, and it puts burning on them with the initial hit. This is a really good potent, ability. I originally wanted to run the dual wield with masters, but then I felt like there was just too many stam skills. I was like, you know what, I want to make like a legit MagCro with only 1 stam ability if I have to, which, come on, I mean, we all know what that is. Like, hello, we'll get there when we get there. But yeah, honestly, this was pretty good, really good for proccing the arena weapon, which I'm pretty sure we all know what it is, and 1 cheese damage set that, well, I mean, it's pretty cheesy, and MagCro needs all the cheese it can get in order to succeed. I wouldn't recommend the other morph. It could be good for a stun, but I really wouldn't. Next skill we do run is Arterial Burst. This is kind of our quote-unquote spammable-ish. Does a good amount of damage. I mean, this is unbuffed with full Bloodthirsty. The cool thing about the skill is it actually does up to 33% more damage based on your missing health, not the opponent. So if you're at 1% HP, you're doing 33% bonus damage, which is pretty crazy to think about. Next skill we do run obviously is good old Dawnbreaker Smiting. This is our hard hitting ultimate. This is basically our execute. This is how we finish off targets. Deals a ridiculous amount of damage in the cone in front of us, stuns them, and if they're able to tell the tail of the Dawnbreaker, well, that dot's for sure gonna put them down. So for the back part, You might be wondering, where is our armor buff? Don't worry, we do actually have access to our major armor buff. See, major resolve, we have access to it. The way we get it is actually from a set, which I'm pretty sure you already know what it is. If not, I'll go more in detail when we go over the sets. But don't worry, we have our major armor buff. But now let's go over the real skills. For the back bar, we do obviously run a race against time. This is basically our snare meter that just happens to grab major expedition and minor force. Now you might be asking, why are you running 2 mobility skills? The thing about this skill, this is a true form of mobility. This thing will actually remove and make you immune to snares and roots. Unlike this one, it gives you the illusion of mobility, which, don't get me wrong, you do move far. But if you're rooted and you cast a skill, guess what? When you come out of the mist, you're still rooted and you're still snared into oblivion. I prefer to have both. That way I can just, whenever I want to get out of dodge, I can just cast a skill and I'm gone. You can't catch me. Weave in a few blood mists, good luck catching me. For the next skill we do run on our back bar is Mortal Coil. This is honestly a pretty cracked skill that heals a lot over 12 seconds. It also restores 170 mag and stam every 2 seconds. While slotted, your healing done is increased by 3%, and on top of that, it's free. This skill is legit free. It really is free. As long as there's a corpse on the ground, you cast the skill, boom, free. Next skill we do run is obviously Resolving Vigor. This is obviously our burst hot. Heal a lot over 5 seconds and grabs his minor resolve. Next skill we do run is obviously good old ESO. This is how we get major breach on the target, basically getting almost 6k penetration on the target. On the initial cast and every 7.5 seconds after, the enemy is afflicted with burning, chilled, and concussed. We all know what happens when you put chilled on an enemy with the knife stepped equip, which we do have. You put minor burn on the target, making them take 10% more damage from crits. Next skill we do run is Resistant Flesh. This is obviously our burst heal. Heals a lot. And for our back bar ultimate, good old just Ravenous Goliath. This is basically our get out of jail free card. You're getting heavily pressured, pop the skill, and basically you're immortal for almost 20 seconds. And it also does a sizable amount of damage around us, like a good dot, and it actually catches a lot of people off guard. Alright, but enough of that, let's go to the stat sheets. So let's just check out our stat sheets. Max mag at almost 23k. Max health is shy of 32k. This actually can go up to 32k plus if you do decide to run Orzhov Small Bear Haunch. Max ammo over 16k. And our recov is fully buffed real quick. Recov on our back bar is at over 2k and our front bar is at 1884. Beautiful. Now our spell damage fully buffed. Let's just proc our fully buffed spell damage real quick. Look at that. Spell damage was at 4549 fully proc, and our spell crit is at 35.5%. And our penetration is just shy of 6800. Wow, this is pretty good. This actually can go up with the blasties up in the air. With blasties, that actually goes up to almost 8300. Wow. And you have to realize we do have access to major breach and potential minor breach, which is almost another 9k penetration basically. Now for our resist on our back bar, look at that. Spell resist at 31.4k. This actually can go up to like almost 34k since we are Breton. And our physical resist is at 27k. And our crit resist is just shy of 2100. For the attributes, we do have 34 points in the mag and 30 points in the health. For the food, obviously we are running Jewels or Mistral, but obviously if you got a deep pocket or don't mind spending a little extra, Orzhov Small Bear Haunch. And for the Mundus, we do run is the Thief. Honestly, you know me and you know that I love crit. The amount of pressure you are able to put on a target just consistently critting is amazing, and we all know what happens when you crit heal that burst heal. But if you're saying, no, I want damage, obviously you can slot the Shadow or even the Apprentice on this build. If you are feeling like you are having more sustain issues, then I'd probably slot the Atro. And obviously we are a stage 3 vampire for one simple passive, Undeath. The lower health we are, the tanker we become. And for my race, I am a Breton. Obviously, in my opinion, Breton is hands down the best open world mag race out there. You get access to Gift of Magnus, increase our max mag by 2k. Spell Attunement increases our spell resist by over 2300, which doubles if you are afflicted with Burning, Shield, or Concussed, which is basically all the time with all the ESO mag DKs running around. And a passive on top of a passive, just 130 mag recov, just here you go for free, don't even have to think. And in my opinion, the most defining passive of them all, Magicka Mastery, reduces the Magicka cost of your abilities by 7%. So all our mag abilities cost 7% less. You can just see that Bretons are just so heavily invested in mag and mag sustain. Some great alternatives. Khajiit could be really good. We do have actually good crit on this build. High Elf could be okay. Dark Elf would be better than High Elf, but Dark Elf's still okay. Anything else I'd kind of maybe stay away from, to be honest. Alright, but enough of that. Let's go over the sets now. So for the monster set we do run good old Mighty Chudons. Either you have no idea what Mighty Chudons is, or why would you be running Mighty Chudons over any other monster set? Let's answer those questions. Let's just go over the set real quick before. I mean, one piece, just almost 1500 armor, beautiful. And two pieces, adds over 1200 max health. We can never say no to free max health. But the main thing, gain major resolve, increasing our physical and spell resist by almost 6k. So this is basically how we get access to our major armor buff. Now you might be asking, why would you run this? Why not just run an armor buff? The thing is, with this, we're able to save a skill slot. Sometimes it's more powerful to be able to have an extra skill slot. So with this build, I was able to slot Elisus. Basically, not having to run the armor buff let me run Elisus. So which is basically making my two-piece monster set, basically giving me 6k penetration on a target and the running status effects on the target every 7.5 seconds. Would it be nice to run a different monster set? Yeah, but MagCro needs all the skills it can get. So actually no mythic or training on this build. Surprising, right? On this build, we do run a 5-piece static set. What I mean by static is that it's active on both bars. And that set is the cheese that is Way of the Fire. I mean, Way of the Fire is just full cheese. I try not to use it if I can, but MagCro needs all the love it can get. And once again, this is unbuffed. We have access to 600 plus weapon and spell damage. We are fully expecting the Bloodthirsty. We haven't even popped our 20% spell damage pot yet. Might look a little low, but trust me, after all the modifiers, this thing hurts. I mean, the 5-piece, when you deal damage with a weapon, you deal an additional X amount of flame damage with a 2-second cooldown. Are you insane? That is so much pressure. This thing can actually, when it crits, this thing can hit for like 4 or 5k crits every 2 seconds. Pugs get melted by this and sweats get heavily pressured. And the thing is, when you deal damage with a weapon, that can either be a light attack, a weapon skill, or even a weapon dot. So like the dot from Rending or the dot from Flame Reach, which we do have. Every time that does damage, if the set's not on cooldown, it will proc, and that's what keeps the pressure going. So for the front bar, we do run an arena weapon, like I said earlier, and I'm pretty sure you already know what it is. For those that don't know, we do run good old the Master's Perfected Inferno Staff. Obviously, non-perfected, perfectly fine. The only thing the perfected version does is it grants you 103 weapon and spell damage. That's it. Whether perfected or non-perfected, the main thing we want reduces the cost of Destructive Touch by 10%. And increases your weapon and spell damage by 600 for 4 seconds after activating it. This gives us a burst of damage. It makes our Way of the Fire hit so hard, and it just makes our whole kit hit really hard. And it also can carry over to the back bar if you're fast enough. So if you want to run the Master's Dual Wield, you can actually run it. Just, you know, swap out whatever Flame Reach is into Raining Slashes, and you could run it. The thing was, it didn't really feel too much like a mag. I wanted to be really into mag with only one stamp skill. So yeah, and then the last set we do run a back bar set, and that set is Snake in the Stars. What exactly is Snake in the Stars? Let's go over it. 2-piece adds mag recov, 3-piece adds max mag, 4-piece adds weapon and spell damage, 5-piece adds another line of mag recov, but the main 5-piece, applying a major or minor debuff to an enemy, applies Star Venom to them for 4 seconds. This effect can occur once every 12 seconds. Whenever an enemy with Star Venom is healed, they take 1170 Oblivion damage. I know it says 1240, but it only does 1170 for some reason. Up to once every 0.1 second. So theoretically, you can make an opponent take over 10k Oblivion damage every second. There is a catch though. Once an enemy is afflicted with Star Venom, they can't be afflicted by any other Star Venom. They're on full cooldown, kind of like Plague Break. So yeah, but this set was honestly really good, and honestly really cheesy. Someone told me they got hit for over 20k from this one Star Venom I put on them. Like what? But anyways, how exactly do we run it? So for the front part, we do run obviously the Master's Perfected Inferno Staff. Obviously non-perfected, perfectly fine. And if you want to run the Master's Dual Wield, you can swap this out for it. We do run it with an Azor Stam enchant with Sharpen. Obviously an Azor Stam enchant, good for the sustain, but mainly there to be able to proc Minor Breach. And Sharpen obviously, because in PvP, penetration is king. For the back bar, we do run a Stake in the Stars Eye Staff. Anytime you cast Elisus on a target, you put Chill on them, and with an Eye Staff equipped, we put Minor Brittle on them, making it take 10% more damage from crits. And for the enchants, just the good old Azor Magicka enchant that he came with. Good for the max sustain, and puts Minor Magicka Steel on them potentially. And obviously defending, because tankiness is next to godliness. And for the body, we do run the typical 3-3-1. 3 heavy, 3 light, 1 medium. We do run a light Mighty Chudon's head, heavy chest of the Fire, medium shoulders of Mighty Chudon, a light sash and hands of Snake in the Stars, and a heavy legs and feet of Way of the Fire. For the enchants, if you can, tri-stat all the pieces. If you can't do that, tri-stat the big pieces. What I mean by that is head, chest, and legs. And if you can't do that, max mag is perfectly fine. Just adjust your health attributes at the end. And for the traits, 1 reinforced, 6 end pen. Yes, 1 reinforced, 6 end pen. The only reinforced I have is a heavy chest of the fire reinforced and the rest end pen. And for the jewelry, we do run a necklace and ring of the fire. And for my last ring, I do run a snake in the stars ring. All with bloodthirsty, 2 with reduced mag cost, and 1 with weapon and spell damage enchant that preferably grants mag recover, but if it grants dam recover like I have here, it wouldn't make or break the build. But honestly, full bloodthirsty was honestly perfect for MagCro. The sad reality of MagCro is you have no execute. So the only way to kind of get an execute is to just get bloodthirsty, because when they're at 10% and we hit them with an ability, we're going to hit them really hard. And it also lets us put 2 sustained enchants. But honestly, with this build, you could probably get away easily with a second weapon and spell damage enchant. And for the food we do run, good old Jewels of Mistral. Gives a lot of max health and recover of everything. But obviously if you got deep pocket or don't mind spending a little extra, or Zafka's Smoke Bear Haunch. Gives us about 400 more max health and slight more recover. And for the pots we do run, just good old spell damage and spell crit pots. This is how we get our 20% spell damage and our 12% spell crit. And obviously synergizes well with our build because it gives us a big burst of mag and that good old mag recover. But obviously always have tripod slotted. Alright, but enough of that, let's go over the CP now. Alright, so for the blue CP we do run Fighting Finesse, increases critical damage, critical healing. Focus Mending, increases your healing done with single target heals. Master at Arms, increases your damage done with direct damage attacks. And Ironclad, reduces your damage taken from direct damage attacks. For the red CP, typical Seal of Approval red Hex CP. Celerity increases our movement speed by up to 10%, honestly in my opinion the best CP in the entire game. Survival Instincts, well if it deals a side effect, our core combat skills cost less. Relentlessness, being stunned or feared causes you to gain major protection for 3 seconds. And Pain's Refuge, the more negative effects we have active on us, the tankier we become. And for the green CP, it doesn't ever really matter. Rationer, Liquid Efficiency, Gifted Rider, and Steed's Blessing. But alright, cool beans, that's the build, hope you guys did enjoy it. Honestly, Macros just aren't cutting it for 1vxing. Think about MagCro, 1vx MagCro, it's the roughest time you'll ever have. You don't have a reliable spammable, you don't have a reliable execute. Like, you really just don't have anything going for you. So the only way to do damage with MagCro is you have to run full proc sets. And after that, you just don't do enough damage with your regular abilities. With this build, it was doing wonders. And I can see where this build can really get out of control when you're running in a group. But to those that are still sticking around to the end of the video, I greatly do appreciate it. Why not consider subscribing and liking the video? Really does go a long way and I greatly do appreciate it. Also, quick announcement, I have opened up a Patreon, so for those that truly want to support me a little bit further, I would greatly do appreciate it. This would make it to where I don't really have to work too many overtime hours and I could focus more on content creation and streaming. Greatly appreciated, but not at all mandatory. And like I said earlier, I have been streaming, so if you guys want to see me play live, but mostly just get zerged over live, then why not consider following me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Hexapod, where I pretty much just go over play-by-play, kind of coaching like what I'm going through in the moment to like hopefully help you guys improve in the game. But mostly just there to chat with you guys, because chatting with chat was the most fun I had in this game in years. And I just want to give a special shout out to the MVP of that stream, Timotry007. You truly are the MVP and I greatly appreciate you, man. Thank you for coming in my chat and just making that stream possible. Like, you took away so many nerves from me and I greatly appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. But before I get to your eye, you already know. As always, hope you did enjoy the build video. Like the video if you liked it. Comment your thoughts or experiences with the build. Also, anything I might have missed out. What video I should do next. Subscribe for more. But most importantly, stay zerging.